Okay, let's move on and let's talk about what our market setup is looking like. And Kunal is here. Kunal, did you make it to DY Patil?
No.
You didn't, but you did obviously stay up and watch the match.
Yeah, I did. My daughter was very excited, so
of
I
course,
think I'm part of this.
yeah.
Of course, it's a brilliant victory for India.
Yeah. You know, we don't realize at moments like this, I mean, one thing is, of course, winning the match and creating history, but the kind of dreams and aspirations that kind of triggers in the masses is a different thing altogether.
No, so I think I'll take a snippet from Sachin's tweet.
Yeah.
He mentioned that 1983, that kind of euphoria and the kind of impact, the same impact I think is what we feel probably
Absolutely.
today.
I mean, it's like someone did it and it makes you believe that someone can do it and that someone could be you someday.
Absolutely.
Right? But what is the market up to?
I think the market is in a phase of a pause right now. I think we're seeing the last couple of days the index is just about trying to take some bit of time to settle around this 26,000 mark. We've traded in this band for the last, I think, 3-4 days. There's been a bit of a sector churn which is starting to shape up. The strongest sectors are taking a bit of a setback. You're seeing the weaker performers trying to make a comeback for themselves, but that's not helping the construct of the markets. There is imminent weakness in the private sector banking names, and I think that's aggravating the situation for the Bank Nifty to try and just be the sole strong sector to try and lead the market from the front. So I think on the back of this, I would probably believe that we could be in for some bit of more consolidation over here. But the trend and the trajectory is still on the upside because the kind of global tailwinds, the news flow across the globe, the rise in the Asian markets, etc. I think eventually that will help the markets push up higher. So it's a matter of time that the index consolidates. My sense that 25,500 could be a good retracement point in case if the index drops down to that kind of a territory. That's a good point where traders could look at a bar.
Kunal, amid a market that is so choppy and you're talking about the sector churn we've seen, what could stand out or what could do well in the near term?
See, in terms of sector front, I would now believe, so what happens is when the market enters into a phase of consolidation and then starts off a new rally, that's the time when sectors take a churn. So, for example, we've seen PSU banks being one of the strongest sectors and then followed by realty, etc. So you might probably have a phase over here where you might have some other sectors like maybe select PSU names, select private sector banking stocks, pharma, FMCG, etc. They could try to make a comeback. So I think here in this phase of the markets where it becomes a little bit more consolidated, the theme changes for the markets in the near term, and then you see new themes emerging for the markets in the next trend when the market gets ready for a breakout on the upside. So I think we are in that state of flux over here, and that's why I would believe that trying to chop and churn the sector themes would be a better strategy rather than relying on the previous sectors which have done reasonably well.
Kunal, given that private banks are not holding up and it's becoming increasingly very earnings specific, what stocks would you recommend today?
So BHEL, for example, as a differentiated stock, even in the last 1 week of the market recovery correction, the stock recovered exceptionally well. I think it closed almost at its weekly high. A classic pattern of an inverted head and shoulder for BHEL. That's something which I believe could probably have an impact, much stronger impact over the next many weeks to come by for the stock. So we'll look out for 280 as a position target, stop loss at 256. And the second would be about IDFC First Bank, again a classical breakout stock. It's now converted itself into a monthly breakout and almost breaking past about the last 13 to 15 months of a price breakout for IDFC First Bank. This could be a significant impact for the stock in the medium term. So we'll look out for 88 as a positional target and stop loss at 78.
Kunal, BHEL, good set of numbers. We saw good delivery also happening on Friday on BHEL. How do you see the BHEL stock?
See, it's an exceptional chart, frankly, Sajid, because you look at the relative strength scale, the RS scale, the comparative scale. BHEL is at a point where the stock is just, I think, 4-5% off from its lifetime highs. You compare this with HAL, you compare this with all the other shipping companies, the defense names. Most of these stocks are at 200 DMAs or maybe below that. So you are looking at a margin where the leader is at a strong outperforming zone and the other underperformers are still 10% to 15% broadly off from their lifetime high levels. So that tells you that BHEL is the strongest name from the entire pack. I believe that this trend should continue for the stock.
You see a similar thing, a move happening for defense stocks as well, like you mentioned HAL and others, because BHEL is taking a lead now, but will other defense stocks follow?
See, it eventually makes just to give a relative example, SBI did something for the PSU banks. When SBI broke out of that 800, 825, it gave a new lease of life to the entire PSU banking names. Many of the stocks managed to chug along. maybe BEL could act into that category. But I think the direction of BEL should govern the entire movement of the sector.
Okay, on that note, let's take a very